I remember my days working the night shift as a custodian at a middle school, a job that came with its fair share of eerie encounters. One particular night stands out vividly in my memory. It was the usual routine. I had completed my cleaning duties in a long, U-shaped wing of the school, ready to secure the premises and call it a night. As I ventured toward the end of the hallway, where the doors to the rest of the school awaited my nightly lockup routine, an unexpected event rattled my senses. Just as I shut off the lights, a chilling sight emerged in the darkness. The distinct silhouette of what seemed to be a childlike figure darting across the hallway from one side to the other. Yet it was impossible. I had already locked up all the doors along that corridor, and I had been alone throughout the night. There shouldn't have been a soul stirring in that area. The unnerving sight sent shivers down my spine, and without a second thought, I hastened to secure the doors, barricading the wing from the rest of the school. With my heart racing, I made a swift and perhaps more panicked dash to my car. Working nights had often played tricks on my mind, as shadows and faint sounds teased my senses, but this incident was distinct. It was the most unmistakable and spine-tingling experience I had encountered in that place. The feeling of being watched and the flickers of things out of the corner of my eye had always been present, but that fleeting apparition was an encounter I wouldn't soon forget. Working the night shift at a gas station in a less than reputable part of town certainly served up a platter of outlandish and sometimes downright bizarre encounters. However, amidst the wild tales of oddities, there lurked a moment that surpassed the bizarre and delved into the realm of the macabre. The discovery of the first of two deceased individuals in the dumpster area. That night, my routine at the 24/7 gas station had been moving along as usual, a steady stream of odd transactions and peculiar encounters. Yet what started as an average night took an abrupt and chilling turn. As I headed to the dumpster area for a regular cleanup check, my senses were immediately seized by a grim reality. Two familiar faces, regulars of the place, laid motionless. Their lives had been tragically cut short by an overdose. Reacting swiftly, I dialed 911, my hands trembling as I attempted what little first aid I knew. But the grim feedback from the EMT lingered heavily. Hours had passed since their passing. Yet in that moment, a haunting sensation gnawed at me. I could have sworn I felt a pulse, and even amidst the silence of the night, an unsettling, gurgling sound reached my ears. The memory of that night remains a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the stark realities that can play out in the dead of night. It was a jarring and poignant experience, standing as a haunting punctuation amidst the colorful tapestry of my nightly encounters in that unsettling part of town. Working in a prison undoubtedly introduces you to a spectrum of unsettling moments and experiences. During one of my earlier shifts, I found myself amidst a situation that transcended the confines of the tangible, stepping into a world where the unexplained lurked in the shadows of an environment already steeped in its history of death and despair. It was well into the early hours of the night, far beyond midnight, and I was stationed in a housing unit that held a weighty history of grim events and unfortunate demises. As part of my duties, I had to ensure all offenders were in their cells during the 2 a.m. count. On that night, as I prepared for the count, I spotted an offender making his way down the stairs from the 2nd level and heading into the bathroom area. A standard procedure would be to verify their cell number to include in my count. I called out to the individual, inquiring about their cell details to note their presence for the count. However, the response I expected never came. Determined to complete my task, I ventured into the bathroom, searching every nook and cranny, yet not a trace of the offender could be found. Feeling a chill run down my spine, I shared this uncanny incident with a colleague, hoping for some clarification or a rational explanation. Their immediate question struck me, almost like an eerie premonition. Was he tall and skinny, with long dreads? Indeed, the description fit the figure I had witnessed. Confirming this, my colleague solemnly revealed the haunting truth. The figure I encountered was supposedly Mr. Bones, an offender who had taken his own life within the prison walls years ago. The encounter lingered in my thoughts, sending shivers down my spine as the chilling realization of interacting with a specter from the past, an apparition in the halls of the present, set in. Such inexplicable experiences in the midst of an already intense and demanding workplace instill an unnerving, ghostly aura that's hard to shake off. I was once working for a moving company, responsible for restocking the trucks, a job that was anything but pleasant. The night began like any other. I was going about my duties, stacking supplies in one of the trucks pulled up to the dock. But little did I know, that night would etch itself into my memory for the most unnerving reason. As I was focused on the task at hand, a strange blur clouded my vision. Tiredness settled in, and I assumed it was merely my exhaustion casting a fog over my eyes. Rubbing them, I felt a dampness on my forearm. Ignoring it initially, I presumed it was the sweat that often accompanies the physical labor of the job. But then it happened again, the fuzzy vision, the feeling of moisture on my skin. That's when I decided to investigate. Glancing down at my arm, my stomach twisted into knots at the sight that met my eyes. There, crawling all over my skin, were hundreds of crushed baby spiders. Panic seized me, and I felt a tingling sensation across my body, as if they were swarming over every inch of me. Reacting on pure adrenaline, I sprinted toward the nearest water hose. The image of those tiny arachnids invading my personal space seared into my mind. Rinsing and frantically scrubbing, I tried to rid myself of the creepy invaders, making sure every last one of them was washed away. The following morning, I discovered numerous tiny bites speckling my legs, a chilling reminder of the bizarre encounter with the baby spiders that had chosen me as an unwitting host. It was an experience that left me shuddering with disgust, yet at least I found solace in the fact that the little invaders hadn't caused me much harm beyond the unsettling sensation and the few lingering bites. Nevertheless, it was a night I'd never forget, and certainly not one I'd wish to relive. Working the night shift on an ambulance always comes with its dose of strange tales, but there was one incident that sent shivers down my spine. It happened on Thanksgiving in 2016. We received a call for a suicide. The man had received a devastating cancer diagnosis the day before, and not wanting to burden his family, chose to end his life. As part of our duty, we responded to the call, went through our protocols, and provided the necessary support. Once the task was completed, we headed back to the station. But as we pulled into our spot, something eerie unfolded. The electronics in the ambulance began to malfunction. The radio started switching stations of its own accord, the dash lights flickered on and off, and the cab lights danced with an eerie, irregular rhythm. Both my partner and I were left in a state of bewilderment, our hearts racing. As the strange occurrence escalated, we panicked and hastily jumped out of the vehicle, only for the truck to abruptly shut off. The air was charged with a strange energy. I exchanged a blank yet deeply perturbed look with my partner. A moment of shock passed between us before we both instinctively reached for a cigarette to calm our nerves. Filled with a sense of trepidation, I approached the ignition, and to my surprise, the key was still in the on position. With a sense of foreboding, I turned it off, then cranked the engine back to life. The remainder of the shift passed without any other issues, but the unsettling incident stuck with us. Having encountered various odd occurrences during my time in emergency services, I firmly believe that something from that heart-wrenching scene had tagged along with us. It's a memory etched vividly in my mind, a piece of the unexplainable that reinforces the fact that the world holds mysteries beyond our understanding, even within the confines of our emergency duties.